All right, as we get ready to talk about professional developments for adults, as you each have to choose your own professional development to present to us, one of the things we want to think about are these adult learning theories and how that applies to being a literacy leader. So I just typed up a few notes that we may not get to talk about. So I'm going to put these online for you so you can look at them, print them, or just listen to them as you're cleaning the house. But what we know now is that about 70% of adult learning is self-directed, and that's a citation from 1981 Cross. And I would argue that that percentage is much higher now that we have MOOCs and other online trainings available specifically for teachers. A lot of free webinars for teachers, a lot of free modules that teachers can do. I'm in the middle of a MOOC right now that I have to finish by May 5th for the science of reading. So 70% is self-directed. I would think that that might even be a little bit higher now. I know there's a lot more opportunities. And more people are going online for their professional development. As a literacy leader, this is something that you will ultimately be in charge in your building or district. And you want to think about this seriously because teaching adults looks much different than teaching children. So Malcolm Knowles in 1980 talked about Andragogy, which is the art and science of helping adults learn, which we're used to the opposite of pedagogy, and that is really the art and science of teaching children. So that's a little bit different, and there's some tenets of adult learning that I want you to think about as you move toward creating your professional development, and you will be creating it online because the current state of affairs. So if you look at those 5 points in red, the 1 through 5, these are some things I want you to think about as you're thinking about teaching other adults. Whether you are the reading specialist, the literacy coach, or the Title I coordinator, you will be in charge of professional development in your home school, if you will. So the first assumption is that self-directedness really comes with maturity of the learner. And as learners mature, they can direct their own learning. So how do you set up or provide opportunities that kind of kick off what you want the teachers or staff to be doing, but also they can have some ownership of that, but also they can kind of direct some of that own learning. So that's an important piece. The second thing that's really important is that you have adult learners who bring in a whole lot to the table, right? They have this reservoir of life experiences and background knowledge that will aid in their learning. So you can kind of take them from point A to point D pretty quickly and build on what they know and scaffold what they know and what they need. So that leads us to number 3 is thinking about, do your learners, do your teachers, whomever is in your professional development, are they ready to learn that? And typically that occurs for adult learners when they assume new jobs or they have new roles in the building, or they're driven by something that they really want to learn this new skill set. So if you think about coming back to school, for instance, right? Like that's driven by a personal drive. So that is the same for professional development. Number 4 is talking about problem-centered opportunities and giving those that you train an opportunity to use it right away. Because I think we all know that we've been in professional development where it's like a one-shot deal and that's it, you forget about it. You want things that people can use Monday morning that also has ongoing support, right? And it's prolonged, right? So it's not just this one-shot deal. We're going to try this. We're going to come back and debrief. I'm going to provide support and we're going to keep chugging along until we get this. That's an important piece for adult learners. And then number 5, the thing about adult learners are they are motivated intrinsically and not by external factors for the most part, unless, someone says they have to do it. But usually it's because, there's some problem or some issue that arises that they want a solution for. Our kindergartners, are not meeting benchmark on the dibbles, right? On the nonsense word fluency or whatever it might be. What can we do to better solidify phonological awareness across kindergarten and first graders before we can move into phonics? Let's come up with some ways that we can do that. So those are important features of those adult learning theories. And some things that the research tells us about getting ready to teach adults. So if you're training adults, things that you should think about. And those are in those bullets, those black bullets. And that is providing a cooperative environment where they can learn. So how can we do this together? And I think an important piece when I was a literacy coach that I sold my teachers, and I believed it, was like, we're in this together. Like, we have a problem. I'm not leaving. I'll go do the research. I'll be the one who does all the legwork. I'll come back, show you what I've learned, and then we'll stumble a little. We'll get up. We'll keep going until we come up with a solution. And I think that's an important part of teachers buying into whatever you're providing in terms of professional development. Finding out, second bullet, finding out what their needs are. So I never just threw professional development at teachers in my building. It was like, what do we need? Give me the top 3 needs this school year, right? Let's rank them. Let's talk about them. Let me go see what funding we have. Where can I get money from? And let's move forward and kind of own this together. Developing objectives based on their needs and interests, I think that speaks to number 2. Designing activities or situations or learning experiences where you are scaffolding that for them and it meets those objectives that we set out from the very beginning. And the next one, working together to come up with the way we're going to do it, what we're going to use, how we're going to pay for it. That is like, we're in it together, and I'll kind of drive the boat, if you will. I'll be the captain, but I can't do this without you. So, working collaboratively as a team. One of the things that I take very seriously is evaluating what that learning experience was like for everybody involved. So if you go on Blackboard, when you do your professional development, there is an evaluation form that everybody who attends your professional development will complete. Now, it's online. It would look much different in person, but what are creative ways that you can think about presenting this? But I always leave with an evaluation. And it's like, how did I do? What did you learn? What do you still need? When you can do those things, you create this transformative learning experience, right? Which really is kind of a shift in mindset. It's shifting the way individuals think about themselves in the world and how we can do this. So, we all know that changing mindset is really tough, especially with teachers. They're probably the toughest audience I've come in contact with to date. But here are some, what the research says, here are some things that you can do to kind of create an environment that can be transformative in the way people learn. Creating a climate, whether it's across grade levels, the building, or the district, that allows for that. And I think part of that is failure. Allowing people to try it, not be judged for trying it, letting them fail, and then supporting them and picking them up and saying, look, we can do this. I'm staying with you until we learn this together. And I never, ever told my teachers, it was never like them and me. It was always we. We're in it together. We'll figure this out. I don't have all the answers. The second thing is knowing your audience, what appeals to them, what do they need to know? And I think that speaks to something I said earlier, was like, tell me your top 3 things you need this year, right? Now, that looks different for kindergarten teachers than it does for 5th grade teachers. And that's okay, because I have the ability to group them and give them what they need based on their needs. One of the things we used to do, and Nina, maybe the district's still doing it, your district might still be doing it, is that Mon Valley Learns, where like people could could pick like, here are the top 3 things I want to do for this next professional development. That was totally driven by the teachers and what they thought their needs were. It was a great way to, I think, mix it up a little bit for professional development. And then number 3, developing experience that provide multiple exposures and multiple viewpoints. And that's from the K teachers all the way up to the high school teachers. We want to do it multiple times so that we can, we can own it. but also what are all the viewpoints, right? What are the pros? What are the cons? What does that look like for third grade teachers as opposed to sixth grade teachers? So as you're creating your professional development, these are some things I want you to think about, keeping in mind that you're teaching for adults and not children. And that's going to look a little bit different. So with that, I will see you later, folks.